Welcome to the first ever episode of The Truth Shall Make You Free, brought to you by the state of Atlantis. Now, this is a beta test for a new show that I have been planning for a long time. And during this beta test, I will explain why. Why am I doing this show? What is my mission? Well, I believe that we are moving into a new age. Now, I'm not a big fan of the new age movement. I believe that that movement's co-opted. I believe that a lot of the people in that movement are solipsists, and when you actually ask them to take action and do something to change the world, they're not interested in that. Now, I believe we are co-creating this so-called new age, and right now it's not looking too good. I'm seeing a lot of people who go up and march and beg for things from the same people that have, that have taken away their rights, so to speak, but I don't see anybody creating something new. So that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to teach, because I've been studying natural law, metaphysics, spirituality, some of these things for a long time, so I'm here to teach. I believe the goal is to go from a type 0 situation and even skip over what's called a type 1 situation on the Kardashev scale to a type 2 civilization. Now, right now we are a type 0.7 we're not even a type 1 civilization. I don't even consider this world to be, or any of these countries to be, a civilization, because I don't think, frankly, we're civilized. Now, I can tell you that there are ancient civilizations that have been hidden from us that were real civilizations that were probably millions of years ahead of us. So the goal is type 0, to even skipping a type 1 and going to type 2. Type 1, we use the power of our planet to power our civilization, meaning the power of the earth. No, I'm not talking about gas and oil, meaning we use the earth, which is basically an electric motor, to harness power. A type 2 civilization, we would harness the power of our sun. And a type 3 civilization, we would harness the power of the galaxy. Type 4 universe, type 5 multiverse. Those two are actually hypothetical, obviously. It's all really kind of hypothetical. But let's go for type 2. Let's be able to harness the power of our sun and our earth to create energy for our civilization. Right now, I don't consider us a civilization. And in fact, whenever people say, hey, aren't you a member? I'm a member of society, Well, I always tell people I never joined any society, especially not this garbage here. We'll get more into that as we go. Something that I should mention, I could care less about money or fame. That's not why I'm doing this. I'm doing this because I believe I'm on this, we're all on this planet and we all have a mission. So I'm doing this because it's my mission. And I believe that the money system, I've studied it for 3 to 5 years thoroughly. I've read the operating circulars of the Federal Reserve. I've read Title 31 of the U.S. Code and of the Code of Federal Regulations. Title 12, which is the Federal Reserve Act. I studied trust law, a little bit of corporate law, so I kind of have a decent understanding of what's going on. Now, if I'm missing something or I'm wrong about something, I want to hear it. Because if I'm wrong, I want to get to that new level of knowledge. That's my whole thing is truth, knowledge, compassion, love. And that's why I say if I'm ever in an argument, I can't lose, because if I'm correct, then I'm correct. And if I'm wrong, then I get to a higher level of knowledge and hopefully eventually attain wisdom. Do I have wisdom? I wouldn't say I have wisdom, but I love wisdom, and that's what my goal is to attain wisdom through knowledge and through understanding of that knowledge via information. So you take information, process it, and you turn that information into knowledge, and then you turn your knowledge into wisdom. We'll get into that as we get into future episodes. Now, it's all of humanity's job to contribute to fulfilling its destiny. So that's the big thing here is I don't believe that we'll become an interstellar civilization if we stay at the same level of morality and truth and mind control that we're at now. So I don't believe that I can do anything, it's up to humanity to do this. I can just be a facilitator in bringing humanity to a new enlightened civilization, and that's one of my goals. Not that I'm just the one who's going to do it. There are other people out here doing great work too, but I'm called to do this. So here I am, and hopefully I can bring something unique because I'm going to take a very holistic approach to this show. But I do believe it's each of our jobs to seek to come up with our mission, and I've even written mine down on a piece of paper. I'll show that to you later on in this show, and we maybe write it down, and that should be our mission. I personally think that it's sad when somebody's mission in life is to achieve a lot of pieces of paper, in other words, what we call today money, which is really legal tender. To me, when that's your goal, it's just kind of sad, and all it really is evidence of debt. So for me, for that to be somebody's goal is sad, and really the money system is somebody else's frauds and schemes. I understand that people have to live and stuff, and I'm not judging people. However, I think having a real goal, like what would you do if you had all the money in the world? And really the way a society should work is everybody should have the opportunity to achieve their life mission without money, which is not actually the current in the system, it's the resistance. That's something we'll get into as the show progresses though. And then another thing is that even in failure, so even if this show fails and my goals fail, the goal is to stay balanced, continue to learn lessons, and progress from that. Failure can be our greatest teacher. So, I've definitely, things haven't exactly taken off with some of the stuff I've done the way I like, but I take a balanced approach, and I see where I can go to move on from the last project or the last approach I took. And here's one of the things that I'm doing. I'm trying to get some information out there, and maybe I can get people to join in on some of my projects, hopefully. So what are my specific goals? What are the specific goals of this show? And can my goals be achieved without the help of others? The answer straight up is no. I can't do a lot of the stuff that I want to do without other people participating, nor would I want to. And in fact, the other day, I had a friend say to me, well, don't you want all your stuff to succeed so you can stick your nose up and say I told you so? And I said, no, that would defeat my whole purpose. And actually, that's a very immature approach to take on achieving success. I think that's the old way of thinking about things. The new way is through cooperation and mutual aid. The old way was through competition. And there's peer-reviewed science that has said that, and I'm not saying peer-reviewed science is always the greatest thing, but that's what these scientists love. And according to peer-reviewed science, cooperation and mutual aid work 100% of the time compared to competition. So the whole competition Darwin idea is actually a lie. And yes, we do evolve, but it's not through competition. It's through mutual aid and cooperation, and through consciousness for the human or man or whatever you want to call us. I don't want to get into the legalities of that. So no. If I can't get people involved with these projects, then try to attempt to move humanity forward, because I can't promise billions of dollars, then maybe humanity doesn't deserve to move forward, and maybe we deserve the dark Aquarian age instead of the light Aquarian age. Because the truth is there are no guarantees, and people don't like to put forth the effort unless there are guarantees, and it takes people who are willing to risk everything to come up with something new and truly inventive. And I certainly am willing to do that, and without fear. In these times, obviously there's a lot of fear, and I don't let fear control me. I always try to stay balanced and try to stay in a very centered state, and do not succumb to fear. So the subjects of this show. natural law, the occult, spirituality, mysticism, philosophy, engineering, science, healing / natural healing, religion, history, and metaphysics. So what I consider myself and what I hope to be is a de-occultist. Occult just comes from the word ocular or oculus, one of which, and I confuse the two, one means to see and the other means hidden. So I consider myself a de-occultist. And I just wrote a book called Metaphysics, an emerged science for a new age. And I want to be a demystic. So a lot of the spiritual stuff can be explained through science, because if you think about it, God, or the supreme being, or the infinite absolute, created the universe with a obvious structure. And through experimentation, understanding, and through retroductive reasoning, inductive and deductive reasoning, retroductive reasoning, and through intuition, which is something that a lot of scientists think is BS, but actually, as we'll get into later, the right brain tends to be the intuitive side, and the left, the logical side. And we want to make those two, get those two balanced and make the two become one. And as Yeshua, Jesus said, if you make the two become one, you'll say to the mountain, move, and it'll move. In other words, if you bring your dualistic brain and make it more holistic or holy, then you'll be able to achieve a lot more than being either logical or right or left brain, or just intuitive and right brain. And I notice that there are a lot of people that are very imbalanced in this direction, and I think that's something that I'd like to bring to light, and maybe have you or whoever my viewers are to work on maybe becoming more balanced. So a de-occultist and a demystic, if that doesn't really sound like a word, but I made it up. So de-occultist and demystic is to demystify the spiritual sciences to the extent we can, and take a holistic view of the universe. And I personally take a holistic view of everything. I like to learn everything rather than be specialized. And being specialized is good and okay, but I want to have a very basic view of everything, and then if I want to specialize, I can go into it. And I think that helps me understand how the world works, because that's knowledge and wisdom are what's important to me. And so therefore, since I take a holistic view of everything, this show will be pretty holistic. I'll talk about everything from the legal system to the banking system to natural law to spirituality to metaphysics. You know, we'll do philosophy, engineering. So the show can range from any of these topics, and what we'll probably do on our first official show is talk about principles and natural law, because I think one of the things that is troubling this world is that people have no principles. And principles to me should come before anything, because if you don't have principles, then your family doesn't matter, because it'll just shatter without principles. So that's probably what we're going to hone in on first. I know that sounds boring to people, but I think it's important to learn. Now, just to show you some of the work that I've done, I created my own state. It's called the state of Atlantis. The United States of America, they said, was to be the new Atlantis. Well, we're far from it, but here's what I've got. Just a little, and we'll go over this more as it goes on. And I'd like for people to join. Technically, under international law, you have the right to be a part of any so-called society or any state that you want. And to me, this state is totally immoral. The United States, they're just a bunch of corporations. So I wanted to expatriate, but I wanted to be part of something I could be proud of. So this is what I've created, and this is something that I'm happy to work on with other people. So here's the charter with my symbols. Got some cool symbols, and we'll go over this more as the show progresses. And then here's the end of it. Some cool symbols here. So, state of Atlantis. So here are some of my symbols, signatures. And then here's my notice of understanding and declaration of rights. Obviously, that's my flag. One's in red, one's in purple. One represents the lower chakra, one represents the higher chakras. That's why I went with red and purple. I could have done red and blue too, because red and blue make purple, actually. And then, again, here's the end with the signatures. I think it's pretty cool. And legal-sized paper. And I would love for people to join this and even debate over some of the laws and declarations. I would be happy to do that. And then, so this used to be a trust actually, and I turned it into a state because I expatriated, because I don't want to be part of what's going on, because I don't approve. And I want to be part of something that I can be proud of. And then, the first book I wrote was called Holy Book of the Children of the Light. It's a congregation of Atlantis, so this Atlantean theme. And the reason why I did this is because I believe that spirituality and what goes on in the state are not really, they can't really be separated. So the way I structured it in a certain way that I'll go over on another show, but here's some of what I did. I think the geometry is kind of cool. And then I did a prayer because I believe in the law of one. So here's my table of contents. For my congregation. And then here's my prayer for the law of one. Whoa. But anyway, so that's what I've created. Hard work, understanding the law, took years. And then, Metaphysics, my book on metaphysics, I just did this one. So it's called Atlantean Metaphysics, an Emerged Science for a New Age. And it has a natural law lecture that I put in it. So if anybody ever wants a natural law lecture, and so then Atlantean Metaphysics, we're all one. And eventually, hopefully I'll get an editor and I'll be able to edit this. But this will be, probably I'll just put this in as my first episode. I'll probably laugh at it as time goes along and laugh about how bad it was. Here's my Law of One prayer again. Here's the table of contents. The universe and magnetism, phase conjugation, fractality, golden ratio, implosion, neg entropy, and longitudinal EMF, advanced geometric physics solution, the Schwarzschild proton, phase conjugate crystal piezo wave pump, and a model for consciousness, which is something that I don't think anybody has come out with, a model for consciousness. I do. So that's kind of a gist of what I've been working on and some of the stuff that I want to get out, and hopefully hopefully we can come up with some interesting content, and it can be exciting. To me, this stuff is exciting, and that is it. That will be my first ever show. This is a beta test, and we will see how it goes. Have a good one.